Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of Buckeye Planning and Zoning Commission for Tuesday, August 13th, 2024. If you would stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ready for roll call, Carrie?
Vice Chair Burton. Present. Commissioner Puppy.
Here.
Commissioner Ragsdale.
Here.
Commissioner Kupsik.
Here.
Commissioner Damasio.
Here.
Chairperson Hudak.
Here.
Alternate Hester. Here. Alternate Manuel.
Here.
Alternate Belshi. Alternate McDonald. Here. Alternate Bassler.
Here.
Alternate Trupiano. We have alternate Bassler set in for District 5, and I believe they were processing that through council for permanent seat. I believe it was last week. I'll check on it, though.
Thank you. Next up, we have the minutes for the July 9th, 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission. Do I have a motion for approval?
I so move.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. And then moving on to the regular agenda, we have item 3A, which is the blue polymer site plan, the PLZ SP 240008, as presented by Mr. Wingard.
If that's coming up on the screen, no. This one here? Yeah. There we go. All right. Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Tonight I'm bringing before you a site plan for blue polymers. Just to give you an idea of where this is located, it's just west of the State 85 in the Merritt Industrial Park, right along 85 and Turner Road. If we look at the general plan, this area is part of the large area of employment that are on either side of the State Route 85, and this use is consistent with the underlying land use. The zoning is GC, which is pretty much covered around here. There is one exception to the west, is rural residential. Its meant purpose is to occupy our agricultural equipment for the surrounding fields. This is the site plan. You'll notice that this is on Turner Road to the east. And then there's, in the yellow, you'll see Fawn Drive. And that's a private drive within the Merritt development that will also serve this facility. With that, off of Turner, there are 2 points of access. The southernmost point of access is to the yards where the trucks will go, where the rail yard is in through there. The northern access is onto Fawn Drive and will service 2 entrances into the office side area, parking spaces. And then, of course, on the south, there will be a rail spur for this facility. You might notice that there is a rail canopy by others. That will come in at a later date because that is on the site plan. It will only need to go through building permit. Parking for the facility, the parking for vehicular traffic is up against that northern area. That is the office area of the building. And then in red, you'll see some of the parking for the trucks themselves. Now, when we come to the elevations, you'll notice there are going to be little cutouts. So there's opportunities for more of these truck bays in the future as things progress. The structure itself is is on a 20.4 acre site. It's approximately 170,000 square feet. The elevations are quite attractive. For an industrial building, these look very well along there. You'll notice that the color and materials are more of a gray theme. We also asked them, and you'll notice on the west elevation, and that's the one that faces Turner, we asked them to also place the silos on there. And you'll see the silos there, and I'm happy to say that those will be finished in a matte silver finish, which will perfectly blend in with the rest of the building throughout there. And just an idea of the color palette that they do have, you know, from that, the metal colors, the blue colors, keep that theme going through the facility. Landscaping is plentiful. It's mostly concentrated towards the western side of the site, along Turner over there. You also notice that there's quite a bit of landscaping along the northern side, and that's where the offices are located, and also where the outdoor employee area that is required by code to have a 2% outdoor employee area to be located. Now, we do have one change to the conditions here, condition J. It was determined that condition J regarding other off-site improvements could be removed as a proposed project will be cleaning their improvements with this project. And so with that, staff recommends the Planning and Zoning Commission approve Blue Polymer's site plan subject to conditions A through N as amended. And the applicant and myself are here to answer any questions you may have.
Would the applicant like to make a presentation?
Does not appear so. No, they didn't send anything in.
My apologies, mic was off. Comments from the commission. Commissioner Bassler, any comments, questions?
No comments?
Mr. Damasio?
No comments, sir.
Commissioner Kupczyk?
No comments, looks nice.
Commissioner Ragsdale?
No comments. I agree. It looks very nice.
Commissioner Puppy?
No comments, thank you.
Mr. Vice Chair?
No comments, thank you.
Same, no comments other than the renderings and so forth are very nicely done. Particularly the silos, that's the way they kind of addressed that and kind of made them untraditional. I think that was really nicely done. So thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the Blue Polymer Site Plan PLZ SP-24-0008 with conditions A through N as amended.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion approved. Next item on the agenda is item 3B, the ODFL Industrial Conditional Use Permit and with site plan, PLZU 23-00008, with conditions A through CCC. Mr. Wingard, take it away.
Good evening once again. I'll be here all night. Okay, so my next presentation is involving the Old Dominion freight lines. You might remember this from about a year ago when we had an annexation general plan and a rezone for this particular area. In the vicinity map, you'll notice this is just located west of the Buckeye Airport on Yuma Road in Johnson, right on the corner. As we said, the site was previously annexed and rezoned, and it was rezoned to light industrial. And of course, the site underlying land use for general plan is employment. Now, before I get into it, I just, there might be some questions about conditional uses permits. And basically, what conditional use permits are for uses within a certain zoning district, where a certain use might have something that might be offensive to another use within that same zoning district. So the code will put in conditions about that. Also, as a part of the conditional use permit, it gives an opportunity to do outreach. So we do have an outreach meeting for the people and a public hearing here at the facility. And so with this being a little bit more with vehicle traffic and such, you know, that is why this is a conditional use permit on this site. Like I said, this site is located on Yuma and Johnson, right on the southwest corner. Now, there are going to be 3 access points through here. The main access point along Johnson and then the center access point, the western one, will both be full access points. The entrance to the east on Yuma will be a 3/4 access point. So there'll be no left outs from that area. And then, of course, we have the regional trail that will go in here, and that will either be built or it'll be in lieu payment to be built at a separate time. Parking for the facility, this is well parked within tolerances set by code. There are no tolerances for the truck parking, but we do show that in red. And then we have the vehicular parking in blue. And so this is related right along Yuma Road. And then we have a little bit of parking on the second entrance along Johnson Road. Now, the structures on here, in red, you'll see the structures that are part of this entitlement. And that include the main building with the truck dock doors, the office, and then a fuel canopy through there. Now, in blue, you'll notice that there are 2 areas. Over to the west is an expansion of the existing building. As part of this submission, they included those elevations so that when this comes in to expand, all they would have to do for that is a building permit. Now, the one to the south, the future shop, we do not have elevations for that. So when that comes in, it will go through what we call a commercial design review, where we make sure the architecture is in concert with the existing architecture on the facility. Just to give you an idea, the Old Dominion is not very high. It's a lower building, 1 story. This is the office entrance through there. The rest of the building is going to be dock doors. And if there's any concerns about seeing those dock doors, as we go through the slides, you'll see how those were taken care of. Just an idea, this includes the expansion of the main facility, the main structure. And then we have the elevations of the fuel canopy on through there. Now, this is the landscaping. The landscaping, I think that the applicant actually put a lot of thought in through this. As you'll see on the northeast corner of the property, there's an amenity space. They built that as the employee gathering area, but it's going to be a good amenity on that corner. Also, this is going to be surrounded by chain link fencing. And we don't allow chain link fencing in the city of Buckeye unless if it's not seen from the roads that surround it. So on this next side, the whole yard is going to be surrounded by a berm, a landscape berm that will absolutely not show any of the fencing in there, and if anything, just the tops of the trucks. But you can see the 2 examples of how that'll look from the person standing on the other side of the street looking towards the facility. So the only time you're going to really see this as a truck facility is when you're on Yuma looking into the facility. As required by the code, we did have in November of 2023 at the Kaido Branch Library, we did have an outreach. The applicant actually did a 500-foot mailing as opposed to the 300 that is required. Signs were posted on the property, legal advertisements. We had 2 people show up for the meeting, but not with a lot of concern. One had concern about truck traffic by her property, and another one was just concerned about what was going in, but also commented this is a perfect place for it. Okay, and with that, staff recommends the Planning and Zoning Commission approve the ODFL site plan subject to conditions A through CCC. And with permission, the applicant would actually like to make a presentation as well.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Good evening. If you would state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, good evening. My name is Kyle Hoyt, 346 Seacoast Parkway, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. I am the applicant on this request. I'm here on behalf of the Rublik family in Old Dominion Freight Line. I appreciate your time tonight. It's good to be back before this commission. Want to thank Bart for his staff report. We've certainly enjoyed working with him throughout the process, collaborating on a design that we all can feel good about. Like Bart mentioned, this project probably looks familiar. We were here in February with our request for rezoning and general plan amendment. That was ultimately approved by council in March. At that time, or just prior, we were hoping to move forward the site plan and conditional use in parallel, but we just weren't ready. We were still working out some details of the plan. So over the past, 4 months or so, we've been working closely with staff to make sure that the plan is something we can all be proud of, and we feel great about the product we're presenting tonight. Human and Johnson Roads, certainly very important corridors here in the city of Buckeye. If we've learned everything or anything, tried to address that corner with the amenity space. We've used berms, screen walls, etc., to help soften the facility. It's set back off of the roadway. So we think that through coordinating with Bart and working with staff, that we have a great project. We stand here before you with letters of support. Those letters of support represent 34 parcels and approximately 640 acres in the immediate vicinity of the project. I think this is something that a lot of people can get behind. I'm very fortunate to represent a company like Old Dominion Freight Line. Started in 1934, they now employ over 22,000 people, have 250 service centers, and this facility alone will employ 300 to 350 people with an average median salary of $80,000 a year. So between the design, the customer, and the end user that we're bringing here, we feel great. So to that extent, I'm available to answer. Oh, I think it just says questions. My last slide just says questions. So if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. And again, thank you for your time tonight in consideration of our request.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hoyt, and welcome back to Arizona, and particularly Buckeye.
Yeah,
It's good to have you here.
Yep,
So,
thank you.
questions from the commission? Mr. Vice Chair, do you want to start it off?
I will. What do your other facilities look like? Will this one be the best in the whole wide world, or?
It will be one of the best. I will tell you, a lot of times, they don't end up with screening and landscaping and things of that nature. But from the day we contacted Bart, from the initial research we did on the city, this is far and beyond what we typically do as for landscaping, screening, and kind of just presenting a great product. It's beyond what we typically do, but again, I work for a great customer who allows us some freedom to work with the local municipality. So this will be a great facility.
You say the best.
The best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Commissioner Puppy.
I don't have any questions, but I like that addition of, putting the berm around the fencing. That looks nice.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ragsdale.
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Kupczyk.
No questions, but it looks really nice.
Thank you.
Commissioner Damasio.
I had no questions, but I did want to kind of follow up on the idea of going with the berm instead of a wall. Choosing the
So when we originally started, we did have one neighbor across the street that voiced some concern. She no longer lives there. She's sold her property. But with our use, a lot of times, people, they think it's a lot of noise and light and everything. And in some cases, we end up buying more property than we actually need. So in this instance, we didn't need to cram everything in. We had some flexibility to push the facility off the road, create some space. A lot of times walls can, in my opinion, can feel cold. So we just working with Bart, we ended up making the decision to go with the berms.
I like the thinking outside the box and having different options. So that's really nice. So, good job. Thank you. And that's the part.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bassler.
not about this project, but I want to thank Bart and Jennifer. I had some questions about what a conditional usage permit was, and they addressed that. Bart did here and Jennifer did, and I want to thank both of them for coming through and providing that information. I'm kind of new on the council, and that was a new term for me, so I appreciated their identification of what that was. Thank you.
And Mr. White, I do echo some of the comments that were made this evening with regards to at least the natural aesthetic with the berming. I think that was a nice enhancement as opposed to, just hard surface structure, and certainly over the chain link. So it's nice to have that camouflage there. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
At this time, I'll open up this item for a public hearing. Do we have anybody who wishes to speak? Carrie, do we have any requests? We do not, Chair. Okay. Anybody from the audience would like to speak on this case? There being none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. At this time, on the
Chair, members of the commission, just one point, not a big deal, but on the motion, just make sure after ODFL, the motion, it mentions.
Oh, it started at 6. Yeah.
I think someone's not on mute, maybe. Belshi, yeah. That was, I thought I heard voices in my head. What was I saying? Okay. After the motion's read with ODFL, if you could make sure to mention ODFL conditional use permit with site plan. Just one little thing, make sure it's included in the motion. That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you. So at this time, I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to make the motion to approve ODFL conditional use permit with site plan PLZ SP-23-00008 with conditions A through CCC.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second? With the motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion approved.
Chair, we had at least 3 other seconds.
I think Commissioner Puppy, that's what I heard there.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I heard 3 seconds on that one.
I may have interrupted, so I apologize for that. So.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Safe travels back. Next item on the agenda is item 3C, the Cello or Cielo?
Cielo.
Cielo, thank you. Azul multi-site plan, PLZ SP 23-00023, with conditions A through O, as presented by our award-winning Mr. Wingard.
All right, good evening once again. I'm still here. All right, so this is this too, about a year ago, had the rezoning, the general plan amendment, and the annexation. And this is located just east of the northeast corner of Indian School Road and Jackrabbit Trail. The site is the general plan is neighborhood, which is consistent with the multi-family project. And the zoning is multifamily 1, again, consistent with the use proposed. Okay, so this project is a large project. You might recall it from before. This has primary access off Indian School Road, and then secondary access off of 192nd Drive. Now, you'll notice that the Indian School Road Drive is 3/4 access, and it does not permit left outs. But the 192nd lane is a full access. And so people wanting to travel east would just take the 192nd Avenue exit through there. In orange, you'll see the basic circulation. It's just like a ladder format with those 2 little spaces going out to the roads. And next is parking. Parking required for a facility of this size, and we base it on the number of bedrooms on there and also visitor spaces, is 543. The applicant actually provided 677 spaces, And you'll notice in here, the spaces are shown in blue, and in orange are the enclosed garages that you've seen so many of in the recent BTRs. These garages also have a little bit of storage component on the sides, and they're distributed evenly around the facility. So, uncovered parking, 287, covered parking, and those are just the canopies that go over the vehicles, is 342. The garages will actually provide 36 spaces, but we only count them half, because a lot of times they're full with junk on there. So with that, we were able to get to 18. And then we have, as promoted in our code and by staff, alternative energy vehicles. So they're gonna have, charging stations and that type of thing distributed around the site. Now, there's also there's 3 different types of product that is proposed here. One is a 1-bedroom duplex, one is a 2-bedroom, and one is a 3-bedroom. In here, you'll see the duplexes in green, the 2 bedrooms in blue, and the 3 bedrooms in red. And you can see that they're well distributed around the entire site. Also, I'd like to point out, when it comes to structures, we also have the community center located in the center of the entire development, as well as the office area, just right off of the main entrance in from the facility. Elevations, this is the duplex, sample of the types of elevations for that duplex. Even the duplex will have different elevations, providing more variety throughout the facility. The 1 bedrooms and the 3 bedrooms. You'll notice they all have stone accents, they're gonna have concrete tile roofing, that sort of thing. And we did speak about the leasing office, and this is the leasing office at the southern side of the facility. And then those garages, what they look like. And you'll notice that they're using the same colors, the same forms, the same lights as the residential units. Landscaping and open space. There are several areas of open space through here. I just wanted to focus on a couple of the main areas. This is the pool area, community center, has picnic tables, seating. There's a dog park adjacent, and seating, outdoor kitchen, all the amenities for this type of facility. Just an idea of what the kind of furniture, if you will, for the facility. All with that same kind of blue-green type of color. Now on here, we asked them to actually show where the active versus the passive recreation, because we do have minimum standards for 30% of open space, 15% of active open space. So you'll notice in here that it's broken down into both blue and orange, and the blue is the active open space. So these are going to be areas with chairs, with seating areas, with activities and that sort of thing. The passive areas are just pretty much sidewalks and decorative landscape areas. Walls will go around the facility. This is more telling. We do have the sign of Cielo Azul. Also, the walls are reflective of the colors of the architecture, and they do have signs that are very incorporated throughout the facility. And with that, with permission, the applicant would like to make a brief presentation.
Yes, thank you.
I'm going to drive. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Chair, members of the Commission. My name is Chris Webb with Rose Law Group. I'm happy to be here tonight on behalf of Empire, the developer of the Village at Cielo Azul project. Appreciate Bart's presentation. Wanted to say thank you to Bart and the rest of the city staff. We've been working on this project for a couple of years now. The staff has been a pleasure to work with. Bart in particular has been very helpful to us as we've gone through and answered a lot of questions for us, so very appreciative of that. I just wanted to touch on a few things. Let's go to the first one. So, Village at Cielo Azul, as a reminder, sorry, there's a lot of clicks on this, Bart. This is gonna be inconvenient for you.
Yeah.
So just as a reminder, last year, the minor general plan amendment and the rezoning for this project were approved by the city. Since that time, we've been working on the site plan that's before you tonight. Oh, Ken's gonna save Bart, yay.
Forward, backward. Big buttons forward.
Big buttons forward, great, that makes sense. Okay, so quick overview of the project. These are all single-story for-rent homes, as Bart explained. This will be a luxury gated community. It's got resort-style amenities, Bart pointed out. A lot of those already, so I won't go over those again. We'll have on-site security and property management. Plenty of tenant and visitor parking. As Bart pointed out, we've really tried to ensure that there is more than enough parking here. We've kind of gone over and above there, I think. And just to give you sort of a rough timeline, we've got a fair amount of work ahead of us in terms of, final design and permitting, horizontal construction, vertical construction. So right now, we're anticipating the first occupants probably sometime in 2027. It's going to take a while to get there. But that's an estimate at this point. So I know we're not talking about use tonight because the zoning's already done, but just to kind of refresh you as far as this location. So we're on Indian School, just east of the intersection with Jackrabbit. And Indian School in the city's general plan is categorized as a major arterial. And in the general plan, major arterials is where you anticipate this type of development, multifamily, commercial, and that's exactly what's playing out here in this area of the city. And so what we're seeing is you're seeing this new commercial growth coming from the west. There's a lot happening there right now, and you see this new residential growth coming from the east. Fulton Homes to the east is building the Enclave subdivision right now. And so with all that happening over the last couple of years, this makes this location really ideal for the Build for Rent project that we're proposing. So I wanted to just state this site plan that's before you tonight, this conforms with all the requirements of the zoning that was approved last year. It conforms with the traffic study that we submitted to the city and that the city has already approved. And it is actually identical to the site plan that we, at that stage was a conceptual site plan that we included with our zoning application with one small change. And that change is that we moved our secondary access point a little bit south on 192nd so that it lines up with the existing access to the church across the street. That was something that the city wanted, felt it would function better, and I'm realizing now that this graphic is terrible for purposes of illustrating that alignment, so I'll show you that in a minute. So that's the only change from the site plan that was part of our rezoning package. So again, all single-story for-rent homes. Bart covered this, 1 to 3 bedroom options. They range in size from 680 square feet to 1,282 square feet. We have quite a mixture of 1, 2, and 3s. You can see the relative percentages there. 335 total units. We're at a density of 10.67 units per acre per our zoning requirements. We're providing 52% open space, which is way above the minimum that the city requires. So we feel great about that. And then we're actually, as I pointed out and Bart pointed out, we're providing about 25% more parking than is required. Okay, Chair, I have a video walkthrough of one of Empire's existing communities. I want to be sensitive of your time. If you don't need to see it or want to see it, we can skip it. It's like 3 minutes long, but it's up to you.
Play the film.
Okay, all right, let's do it. So what this is a walkthrough of one of Empire's existing communities. Village at Cielo Azul will look and feel very much like this. So, except this will be the best one. Okay, here we go.
My name's Dale Phillips. I'm president of Stellar Residential. Stellar Residential has been involved with the Empire Group since 2018. The Empire Group, and specifically Richard Felker, have 50 years of both commercial and residential development history. And over the past 40 years, they've become one of the leading developers of both residential and commercial real estate. The concept of the village developments, which is single-family for-rent homes, is literally small homes with private backyards with nobody living above you or below you. The beauty of the lifestyle and living in a village community is you have the benefits of all the amenities, a clubhouse, pool, dog parks, dog spa, fitness center, that you see in garden-style communities. But you also have the benefit of living in a single-family home where you have a private backyard with a dog door. What we constantly hear from our residents is the value of space. They feel like they just have their own home. Living Simplified is a value statement shared by both Empire Group and Stellar Residential, where we have identified and we are delivering benefits and services to our residents. Specifically, the ease of touring a community, learning about the community on the website, applying for an apartment, leasing your apartment and moving in. Once inside a village apartment, you're going to begin to feel the features of a single-family home, from the kitchen island to the smart home technology that's been installed, front door, walk-in showers, walk-in closet, backyard, everything you want. It's all right there for you. From the second you drive through the entry gates, you're going to begin to notice a commitment to green space, lush landscape, private garages and storage facilities. From the brick treatment on the exterior to the color of the roof tiles, every element of design has been thoughtfully considered to appeal to a homeowner. Village communities provide an option for a very underserved audience in that they allow you to have the sensation of home ownership and lifestyle in a rental product. And what we're learning is our residents stay with us longer than if they lived in a garden-style community. They do feel a sense of home ownership. While the single-family for rent concept is relatively new to Arizona, what we're learning is there is a broad audience and a demand for this lifestyle. And the village communities is the perfect answer for that need.
Okay, now this is the tricky part, because last time, every time I tried to advance it, it replayed the video. You might have to skip me to the next slide, Bart, if you can. There we go. Okay.
All right.
There we go. We learned from last time. Thank you for giving me a few minutes to show that video. Hopefully that gives you a sense of what these village communities by Empire look and feel like. Just a couple more things here. One of the main topics that we worked through with city staff and with some of our neighbors were, concerns about traffic and what's happening on Indian School Road. There's a lot of activity on that corridor, so I wanted to just point out a few of those things quickly. So in terms of what's happening on Indian School Road, east of Perryville, the road's basically already widened. It's been striped out and isn't used because it's not widened west of Perryville Road. But as I'm sure most of you know, and I just drove down this on my way here just to double check, Fulton Homes is actively widening Indian School Road along their frontage right now, along with Perryville along their frontage. And once they're done with that, the city of Goodyear is going to be installing a new traffic signal at that intersection. My understanding is they're just waiting for Fulton Homes to finish their roadway improvements so then they can go add the traffic signal. With our project, we will widen our portion of Indian School Road as well as 192nd up to our entrance. And so, over the next couple of years, you'll see really a drastic change to Indian School Road. And the nice thing is, by the time we come along to widen our portion, Fulton Homes will be long done with theirs. And as Bart pointed out, we do have 2 points of access, one onto Indian School Road, that's our primary access. It'll be a 3/4 access, which means you can't make a left turn out, and that's per our approved traffic study. And then we have the secondary access on 192nd that lines up with the existing access into the church. And people who want to make lefts onto Indian School will go out there and use the existing intersection at 192nd. We made that change in conjunction with the city's recommendations because what that allows us to do is allows us to keep traffic today on 192nd, by and large, only goes as far north as the church parking lot to go in, other than the handful of folks that live north there. So we didn't want to change that. And so with our entrance, our secondary entrance lining up with the church, nobody's going to go north of our entrance unless they live north, right? And so we're trying to keep the feel that's there today. Real quick, I'll skip through this. Luke Air Force Base has approved of this. They've reviewed the density. It meets their requirements. It won't negatively impact their flying operations. We've met with the school districts. They have capacity for our students. Water was a question. We're in Arizona Water Company service territory. They have existing lines adjacent to us. We have an agreement in place with them to service, so water is a non-issue. And so really what this project is bringing to the city is a new diverse housing option. We're excited to bring it to you. This site plan is in compliance with the general plan and the zoning that was approved last year. And I am happy to answer any questions that you have.
Appreciate that. Bart, I'm not quite sure if it makes sense to have John kind of address the traffic coming from the west, crossing over Jackrabbit on Indian School going east, because we addressed it. You did a very nice job east of your project, but as you come out of Verado or the Verado community on Indian School, as you cross over Jackrabbit, you've got 2 lanes and it immediately kind of goes into one. So you have a little bit of a consternation there that seems to happen, especially with high traffic flow, with people trying to automatically merge there. Is there a timeline or when that might get redirected, especially with some expansion of Indian School going further east?
Chair, John Willett, City Traffic Engineer. So a couple things here. First, I want to mention that we have our GO bond that's out there, and one of the projects in GO bond is to extend or improve Indian School between Jackrabbit and Perryville. Provide 3 lanes in each direction, median. There will be a median break at 192nd. So as mentioned in the presentation, there'll still be full access. The access into the site will still be 3/4 once all said and done. I'd like to tell you that work would happen tomorrow, but we know it's not. It's got to pass and then start the design and construction. Timing on this and that project may, if the bond passes, could be coincidental. They could be happening pretty close at the same time. If this project is in advance, there will be the 2 lanes coming from Jackrabbit, as you mentioned, that merges to one. And then as you approach this project, because they have to build enough pavement on the north side of their property, which accounts for 3 through lanes, there's enough pavement out there that we could probably maybe get 2 lanes in going going east, and then have one of them become the left turn into their site, and then just keep one going east all the way to Perryville.
Okay.
Part of our bottleneck is when you get to the Beardsley Canal, which is their eastern boundary.
Right.
We are handcuffed with what's out there today.
Right. Okay. Thanks I appreciate you addressing that.
Anything else while I'm up here before I make that long walk back? I mean, I got to go back to my second job, FedEx. I got to do some packages later today. So I got to throw that comment in there. I've heard it all day today. So, okay.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. This being a public meeting, so we'll just go ahead and address this with the commission comments and questions. Mr. Vice Chair, any comments, questions?
No, Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Puppy?
I have no questions. It was a very nice presentation. Thank you.
Commissioner Ragsdale?
Yes, I'm just curious, is that real grass or artificial grass?
Is,
the
Jared
one you
Christian, is the
showed.
question in the backyards or in the community or?
Both.
Oh, so in the backyards, it would all be turf. There's not really room for irrigation and things, so it would be, turf, not real grass. And I think there's probably a combination of both turf and grass, in the common areas. Yeah, so typically what'll happen is, for example, if there are what look like grass areas around the pool and things like that, that'll be turf. It's not usually super conducive to have real grass right next to the pool, or they're mowing and having clippings get in the pool and things, so that would probably be turf. But then in some of the more passive open space areas that Bart pointed out, there will be some real grass in some of those areas. But there's obviously a balance of, trying to be, conservative of water usage too, so.
Is there a problem with the pets, with the artificial turf?
No, it's, the property management company as necessary will clean it, but it hasn't been an issue in the past, no.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Kupczyk.
No questions, thanks. Nice.
Chair Damasio.
No questions, Chair.
Commissioner Bassler.
Not a question about your project, but this isn't new to you, so what is kind of the demographic that this type of a community attracts?
Chair, Commissioner, that's a really good question. So there's a couple of different demographics. By and large, you get a lot of empty nesters that are attracted to this type of community. They want a product that feels like a home, but that they can also lock and leave on the weekends and go visit kids and grandkids and whatever they're doing, traveling. It also appeals to younger professionals, sometimes younger couples with maybe 1 or 2 children. Isn't really a demographic that appeals, or a product that typically appeals to people who are kind of in the middle of raising their family and have multiple kids and teenagers and all the things that go along with that, multiple vehicles to park. So really it's a lot of it is empty nesters, as well as kind of younger folks.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Mr. Webb, thank you for your presentation. I appreciate it very much, especially the video. That was always helpful. And when you have a project with this level of density, what I appreciate is how you worked with staff and so forth in creating the elevation detail and with the roof lines. And because when you see the cluster there, at least from the neighboring properties or the street as a whole, it's just nice to see something that's presentable and attractive, and it'll be a nice addition to the city of Buckeye. So thank you for that. That being said, no other comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the Village at Cielo Azul site plan, PLZ SP-23-00023, with conditions A through O.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That being said, motion is approved. Thank you, sir. And last but our next item up on the agenda is item 3D, PHO Arazo Multi-Center or Multi-Carrier Telecommunications Facility, and a conditional use permit, PLZU 23-00010. Ms. Faustino, take it away.
Good evening, Chair, members of the Commission. My name is Jennifer Faustino, and as stated, I'll be presenting tonight's item 3D, a conditional use permit for a Verizon multi-carrier telecommunications facility. The applicant is Declan Murphy with Coal Creek Consulting on behalf of Verizon and AnthemNet. The proposed location for the new telecommunications facility is located west of the northwest corner of Rado Way and Fillmore Street, located at the Buckeye Union High School District 201 Learning Center. The facility will include a 75-foot tall stealth cell tower designed as a broadleaf tree within a 2,500 square foot enclosure, along with associated equipment. So the subject property is currently zoned planned residential and includes the vacant property to the south of Fillmore Street, which is all owned by the school district. The Palo Verde, Arizona Nuclear Energy Education Center is located to the east and is zoned commercial center. To the west is undeveloped land that's zoned planned commercial. In Kentwood, 10 Commerce Park is located to the north and is zoned business park district. The planned residential zoning district that the subject property lies in does require conditional use permit for all new telecommunication facilities. The proposed facility will be located within a landscaped area close to an existing baseball field at the Learning Center. The main equipment area, as stated earlier, is 2,500 square feet and will include the broadleaf tree cell tower, a generator, and all of the other associated equipment. The facility will be accessed from Fillmore Street onto a proposed 16-foot wide drive aisle and parking space. The proposed drive aisle is over 170 feet away from the nearest school entrance and should only be used approximately about once a month, which should ensure that nothing impacts the school parking spaces or drive aisles. All towers are required to be set back from residential properties by a distance equal to the tower's height. But in this case, there are no residential properties surrounding or within the surrounding area, and the proposed facility is over 100 feet away from the closest building from the school. The site plan was submitted with the CUP and will be approved by staff once the application is approved by commission tonight, at which time the applicant will be able to move forward with submitting building and engineering. The proposed broadleaf tower is being designed and constructed to accommodate 3 users, with Verizon at the top and 2 others for co-location opportunities in the future. The ground equipment enclosure also has 3 areas reserved for the equipment as well. The planned residential zoning district allows towers a base height of 50 feet. However, if the tower is designed to accommodate future co-locations, it could exceed the height by 25 feet per co-location area, which is why they're able to propose the 75 feet. The design will feature ample branches and leaves to ensure complete concealment of all pole-mounted equipment. One of the proposed conditions of the CUP will be that any damaged leaves and branches are to be replaced promptly to ensure the tree always appears full and maintains an effective concealment of all of the equipment. The ground equipment closure is a little over 10 feet tall. The structure will be painted beige to match the adjacent learning center. This design ensures the facility integrates seamlessly into the existing development, preserving the area's cohesive natural desert appearance. The development code does require evidence from the applicant that a new facility is needed in this area and that there are no other opportunities to co-locate on an existing tower or on another structure nearby. The evidence is discussed in the staff report, which is Exhibit C of the staff report. And as shown here, there is a significant gap in coverage without the proposed facility, with the closest tower being 1.8 miles away. There are no other structures in the immediate vicinity that will accommodate the 75 feet in height, which is required to maximize the coverage. Staff does feel that the applicant has met the burden of proof for a new facility at this location. All notification and public participation has been met as shown here and in the staff report. A second neighborhood meeting was held to ensure all property owners within 300 feet were notified per city standards. There were no attendees at either neighborhood meetings, and to date, staff has not received any contact from anyone concerning the request. The proposed conditional use permit is in conformance with the general plan, zoning, and Buckeye Development Code. The use is consistent with the character of the area and is not expected to disrupt the surrounding neighborhood. There are no outstanding issues with other reviewing departments, and the development does represent an overall improvement to the city of Buckeye. Our request for you this evening is to approve item 3D, subject to conditions A and D, or A through D, and staff and the applicant are available for questions.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to make a presentation at this time? Welcome.
Declan Murphy is my name. 8283 North Hayden Road in Scottsdale. I'd like to thank Jennifer for all her patience and hard work on this one. Basically, it's a site that's necessary to address a gap in Verizon's coverage. And of course, it is, like most sites nowadays, it's designed to be a multi-carrier site, which all the carriers are fiercely competitive on the retail side, but on the infrastructure side, there's always good cooperation because co-locating is simply a lot easier, speed to market, a lot lower cost. So it's in every carrier's interest to co-locate versus proposing a new site like this. But so essentially, there's two other operators besides Verizon. There's a fourth operator, Dish, but sure how aggressive they are in this market. So as of now, it would accommodate, two other carriers, probably T-Mobile or AT&T in the future. Obviously, the revenue goes to the school district, which is good. I've been doing this for 20 years, and, it's interesting lately. We've always utilized school campuses, school districts for sites, but nowadays it seems that also one of the motivations for school districts is having, a site on property enhances emergency service communication, et cetera. So it's part of the emergency plan now as such. So not every district, but we hear that a lot more nowadays. But in any case, I think it's a good location. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of growth there in the future. Usually we're playing catch up in Buckeye, but this one is, I think, a better position site to actually take into account, the tremendous growth that's going out here. So anyhow, with that, I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Appreciate that. Thank you. At this time, I'll entertain questions, comments from the commission. Commissioner Bassler?
No comments.
Commissioner DeBasio?
No questions.
Commissioner Kupczyk?
The tree looks so natural. No comments, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ragsdale?
No comments, thank you.
Commissioner Puppy?
Hello, Mr. Murphy, who will be responsible for maintaining the appearance of the tree?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, the responsibility will be on AntemNet, who will be the tower owner. But typically what happens in these types of scenarios is the school district will be the first to get on the phone and call if there's any, and this came up actually part of the discussion with the school district and the maintenance folks that are out there. But should the tree or the compound need any attention, there will be a phone number on the actual doorway into the compound that anybody on the facility could call and, request service. So that's typically how that works. Also, the lease agreement, puts the responsibility on the tower owner, but as a practical matter, it usually is somebody who's going to call if there's an issue. The other thing that, which is kind of a little bit unique about this one as well, is that it's like everything in life. There's good trees and there's bad trees. We've actually put a lot of effort into this tree to get the density, because we're trying to mimic a natural tree, which is as much as you can, because every branch has to be attached to the pole, and then you have equipment that blocks you from. So there's a lot of thought and design that goes into this, but we also, in addition to the branches, will put antenna socks on the antennas, which really kind of is that last step that gives it as much a natural look as you can, because if the branch is not covering the antennas completely, the sock with the leaves attached to it really does a good job. So the finished product should be pretty good, as good as you'll get in the valley for sure, because we've done enough of these now to know how to get them right. So, but yeah, that was going back to your question. Yeah, the maintenance folks or the school district will be the ones that would typically call in. And to add, Verizon would probably visit the site once a month. So if they see anything off, they will also alert the tower owner to make sure that whatever is required maintenance-wise is taken care of.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Vice Chair?
Mr. Murphy, what happened to the good old palm tree? Because and please don't take this the wrong way, but those trees look like drumsticks.
It's a good, Mr. Chairman, it's a good question, and to be honest, as I'm driving over here, I did pass quite a few palm trees, and it actually makes me cringe and embarrassed, because a good chunk of them that you see nowadays, they don't really look like palm trees. And real quick, what really, when they first came about, you know, they were new maybe 10 years ago. There wasn't as much equipment up on the towers. Nowadays, with the evolution 4G, 5G, antennas have gotten larger, and now you have to have radios near the antennas. So to actually cover the equipment on the tower with palm fronds is really not doable anymore. But the other thing is that they don't hold up to UV. Like we have monsoon right now, the branches don't seem to have the structural capability. So if you drive around the valley, it's rare that you'll see one that even looks like a palm tree. You'll see some fronds, and you'll see, you know, bark that looks like a tree. But really, with the evolution of the equipment and as much equipment as you need up there, the coverage, the stealthing ability of these monopoles is just not what it was. And again, the big thing though is the UV and the actual wind, and they just don't hold up. And of course, you end up with one carrier typically on there. So with 3 carriers, you're going to have 3 palm trees. It defeats the purpose. So yeah, so I personally, I might do a lot of sites. I mean, we haven't done a palm tree in 5-6 years. For that simple reason is that they're just not practical anymore, and most landlords don't really want them. And most municipalities at this point, given the growth, you know, they're happier to see a multi-carrier site versus a one carrier, you know, half stealth site. In fact, you know, the last location we proposed went out in Gilbert. They said, to hell with it, just do a monopole because we don't want a palm tree. So, you know, yeah. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to open this item up for a public hearing. Carrie, do you have anybody who wishes to speak on this item? Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak at this time? Okay. There being none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve PHO Verizon Multi-Carrier Telecommunications Facility with conditional use permit PLZU-23-00010, subject conditions A through D.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion is approved. And Mr. Murphy, I think you had the best line of the night when you said that this project was ahead of the curve. So we don't get to have that often, so we'll take it. Last but not least, we have item 3E, the Sunrise Commerce Center Site Plan, PLZ SP 23-00035 by Mr. Galika.
Good evening, Chair, members of the Commission. Good to be before you again this evening. Before I start this presentation, I do want to mention something because I'm going to forget if I wait. It's Tosca's birthday today, so I wanted to make sure we all sing to her after the presentation's done. So I just found out myself not that long ago. So this is a site plan for the Sunrise Commerce Center. It's about just under 24 acres, located at the northwest corner of Yuma Road and Apache Road. So you can see in the aerial photograph, it's the portion of raw desert, undeveloped natural desert, just to the west of Acacia Crossing. To the south is the bungalows at Sundance build-to-rent project, which is currently under construction. A lot of the street improvements have been done out there on the south side of the road. To the west is a vacant parcel, no current plans for development of that. So that land is between what you know as Jones Ford and this particular site. So future development coming at some point on that property. The site is zone plan community and is part of the Sundance CMP, Community Master Plan, which does call this parcel 1 within the CMP. It's got the honor of being parcel 1 and designates it for employment. And the way the Sundance CMP works, if you have the employment designation, you're allowed to do, of course, the employment uses that are identified in the CMP, which are your light industrial, enclosed types of uses, your enclosed manufacturing, your warehousing and distribution, industrial services, pool supplies, all that kind of stuff. But you're also allowed to do commercial uses. So if there is a furniture showroom or something like that wanted to have a warehouse in the back and a showroom up front, something like that could be permitted in this zoning district as well. There is, just on the very east side of the property, you can see this kind of aqua stripe. There's a 33-foot separate parcel that is owned by the same owners, Mark IV, that was recently annexed. In fact, a week ago tonight is when the approval of that annexation was approved. It's has zoning of single family 43, and I'll explain why that's not important in my presentation. It's because they're not developing that particular strip, they're just developing a landscape buffer on that strip, so it doesn't need to have proper zoning. This is the proposed site plan. It is for a flex light industrial project, and what I mean by flex light industrial is these buildings are designed to be occupied by a range of different types of light industrial or even some commercial uses like I mentioned. Anything from a small warehouse to a pool contracting company or Safe Light Auto, auto glass, something like that. All of those types of tenants can fit into these types of buildings. There are 5 one-story buildings of varying size, with the largest buildings being the 2 on the northern end up against I-10. Those are approximately 92,000 square feet and change each. Just to give you, for comparison's sake, the largest buildings on this site are less than 1/10 of the size of some of the major warehouses we've seen, like the Five Below and the Funko warehouse over on Miller. So while they might look big on this particular site plan, these are still, relatively speaking, small scale buildings. One of the biggest selling points of this site plan is the service courtyards are internally oriented. These are not cross-dock buildings that feature warehousing dock doors on 2 sides. They only have them on the rear, and the rears of the buildings face each other on a central courtyard type of design. So that means from I-10, you don't see any service function. From Yuma Road, you don't see any service function. From the east and the west, you might be able to see slightly into those service areas, but they are screened with landscaping as well as wing walls and gates that project out from the sides of the building. So from an appearance standpoint, this is going to look like a very high quality business park, and I'll show you some elevations in just a second. There are 3 points of ingress and egress to Yuma Road that are proposed. The first, or the primary entry, is kind of in the center of the site to a spine. That is a 3/4 access. It allows for left in and right in movement, so both eastbound and westbound traffic on Yuma Road can enter the site, but only allows for a right out movement due to the proximity of the Apache Road intersection. It's too close for a full turning movement. There is a exit only, aligned with Apache Road, that allows for both left out and right out movements. Reason that's an exit is because the adjacent Acacia Crossing development was kind of built a little too far over. Ideally, Apache, it would have been centered on the intersection to the south as it exists today. But if you were to drive out there going northbound on Apache, you would basically run into the subdivision rather than a street alignment as ideally would have happened. So this will be a restricted to and out. And then on the western edge of the site, there is a driveway that's limited for entrance only, specifically for right-ins only for westbound traffic. There is a planned signal at Yuma and Apache Road, so the exiting traffic from that entrance will be able to easily go either direction on Yuma Road. In regard to parking spaces, there are just under 600 that are provided on this site. It exceeds the requirement for industrial uses. What that does is allow the developer to really be flexible in who their tenants could potentially be if they get a more commercial type of tenant or somebody that wants to convert the space into more offices, similar to what the city has done with the project up on Roosevelt in the Landing area. They can do that because there will be enough parking for that. Regards to pedestrian connectivity and access through the site, there's a full internal pedestrian sidewalk network where it crosses drive aisles, or it crosses truck court areas. There's decorative pavement provided. The developer will also construct the Yuma Road public sidewalk. And especially if you live in Acacia Crossing, this is kind of a nice thing. Currently, there's a Sundance Trail that ends at the northwest corner of this property, right up against I-10. It just kind of dead ends into nowhere, turns into dirt. The developer will be finishing that out, constructing the remainder of that trail to connect back down to the Yuma Road sidewalk. So it won't dead end anymore, won't force people to kind of go off-roading. 15% of the site is landscaped area that meets the Sundance CMP. There's a 20-foot landscape setback adjacent to Yuma Road, trees and shrubs in there to kind of soften up the appearance of the project. I mentioned the landscape buffer adjacent to Acacia Crossing that includes the trail. That's about 45 feet wide in most locations. And then rather than providing like one large pedestrian kind of plaza on this site, the developer has provided 2 pedestrian nodes per building. All of those will feature seating, shading, pedestrian scale lighting, something an employee at any of these buildings could take their lunch and go outside and have that. Probably don't want to do it in the summertime, but. In total, 309 shrubs, almost 2,500 shrubs and accents. Very excited about the architecture. I think it's going to be just a tremendous look from I-10. The rendering here on the bottom left portions of your screen here is the view as if you were traveling on I-10 eastbound toward Phoenix. So you can see, and part of this is the shape of the site kind of designs this portion for you, but it's no less cool that they're going to have these angled facades that really kind of stair step in rather than having just one long blank or even articulated facade. But this will really kind of give the appearance of a lot of entries and very kind of high-tech business park. Very contemporary style of architecture. Height ranges between 36 feet and 46 feet, depending on the building, depending on the level of articulation at that particular portion of the building, all within guidelines. I think you can see, especially by looking at that rendering, very good movement, not just in terms of kind of moving in and out, but also up and down with some parapet height adjustments and steps, and really accentuating those entry areas by utilizing some metal accents and kind of projecting them off the face of the plane of the wall behind. Easiest slide ever. No public feedback on this. I did get one call. They just asked, you know, what's going on, and they didn't share any sort of concerns or anything like that. This does, as I mentioned, conform to the general plan and the CMP. This is a spec development, meaning that the developer does not have the specific users lined up for this yet. They'll be able to basically populate the development with any of the permitted types of uses that are listed in the Sundance CMP. Not really different than a shopping center operates. You build it and then the tenants usually sign up to come in. This is in compliance with all the applicable development standards, your building height, your setbacks, no views into the service areas I mentioned being a significant win, in my opinion. Design and the design architecturally exceeds all of our architectural requirements. All the departments have reviewed this, and utilities will be provided by the city. With that, Chair, I am available for any questions. I know the applicant, Mark IV Industrial, and their consultant, Colley Architects, Chris Nordstrom, and his team are here tonight. If you have questions, they don't have a prepared presentation, but if you need them for anything, they'd be happy to come up.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. Questions from the commission. Mr. Vice Chair, any questions, comments?
No, thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Puppy?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Ragsdale?
Is the access from Miller Road going to stay Durango?
Yeah, let me go back. Commissioner Ragsdale. Aerial. Guess that doesn't, I've not zoomed out far enough. But yes, Durango does turn into Yuma Road. You could also get to it from Miller and Lower Buckeye up Apache. That's another option.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Kupczyk?
No questions, but just thank you. We need these smaller buildings because I don't see any problem getting leased out quickly. So thank you very much. Very well needed.
Commissioner Damasio?
No questions.
Commissioner Bassler?
As I look at this, number one, I'm for it, so that's not a question. This is going to be similar to what we have on Roosevelt? Similar, not identical, but same type of thing?
Yeah, Chair Commissioner Bassler, you're talking about the project that actually my department is in, the Roosevelt, the Kentwood project?
Yeah, the building you built for yourself?
Yeah, frankly, much size-wise, these buildings are a little smaller than that one. Architecturally, these buildings are much nicer. I will just say that, frankly. I don't love the buildings that we're in architecturally.
And you brought up Yuma Road.
Yeah.
Is there a plan to complete that?
Yes, I will defer that to our esteemed traffic engineer, John Willett.
I will deliver that message shortly. Here, Commissioner, yes, they're immediately to the southeast of this development. There's two tall, skinny parcels between Apache Road and the very edge of Desert Estates. Sorry, my brain stopped working. The easternmost one is coming for project. They will build their south half of Yuma. We're waiting for the westernmost piece to build their southern half of Yuma. So then we will have basically Yuma complete from Miller to Apache all the way to 247th. then go a little bit on the corner, and then we have a city CIP project that's gonna look at improving Durango up 249th. We're gonna rename the north-south street 249th up to the storage facility. Improve that to at least on the east side only. We're still waiting for the west side. So we have pieces coming as developers come in. It's slowly coming along. I'm not sure if I answered your question completely the way you would like to have heard it, that it'd be done tomorrow, but no, it won't be done tomorrow, but it's coming.
Okay. It's been a long project.
A lot of small city developer pieces bringing in just little segments at a time. So it does take longer than we'd like.
Okay. Thank you.
Ken, I have a question with regards to the eastern portion of the project there. Is there going to be heavy truck use going up and down that drive that's adjacent to the residential to the east? That was my only concern on that, just
Yeah, Chair.
the impact maybe on that.
Again, I mean, the total size of the project, all 5 buildings combined are a third of one of the bigger sites in the city. We don't know the specific users in here, so it's hard to identify exactly what that traffic impact would be there. But I think we're pretty confident in the design with the landscape buffer there, with double rows of trees in that landscape buffer. Lighting is reduced in that area as well. We've been careful on that, that it would have minimal impact on the adjacent neighborhood.
And no concerns from the community itself?
No, we did not receive any. Like I mentioned, we got one neighbor in that neighborhood called me, just asked what's going on, and I sent them the site plan, and no comments really.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And as you stated, the renderings are very nice as well. So we're seeing some very nice things tonight. So thank you for that. All right. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for the Sunrise Commerce Center site plan.
I move that we approve the application for site plan PLZ SP-23-0035, subject to conditions A through double L.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion approved. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, any comments from the public? Is there any comments? No? Okay, no comments. Next item there, we usually have a comment from our Deputy Director of Planning, but if I may steal your floor for a quick moment. I just want to take a quick moment and just share, of those who may not know, this will be my last meeting on the commission, as difficult that is to say. One of the blessings I've had in life was to serve District 6 of the city of Buckeye and Buckeye as a whole. So it has been truly an honor, and I appreciate that Mayor Meck, of course, Mayor Osborne today, City Council, and an amazing city staff. I think it's second to none what the city of Buckeye has to offer today. And my fellow commissioners and our esteemed alternates, thank you very much for the opportunity to serve with you. It's been an honor. I will truly miss this time with the city. And we are relocating outside of Arizona, so it's come quickly. So hence the last minute news for some of you. So I just want to take a moment and thank you all for your trust in me, and I wish you well as you guys continue to navigate the city of Buckeye. So thank you very much. Adam.
Thank you, Chair Hudak. We definitely appreciate you. 15 years is a lot of commitment, and just anybody to volunteer with their city for 15 years is definitely commendable. So I think your professionalism over the last 15 years has been at the highest level. And I'm going to ask you to write a small short story as a guide to future commissioners, and maybe you can trademark that, with just how professional you've been. And I know you've probably gained a lot of experience in that. So make sure you give everyone your phone number if they have questions for you along the way. But I do want to mention that we do have a plaque, that we had a UPS issue today that we're going to make sure we give you. It's just as a longstanding commissioner, but I would like to, but when I'm done and maybe after the commission goes through their updates, I would like to take a picture with you with the commissioners, the alternates, and our planning staff. We just have to find someone to volunteer to take a picture. But I think that would be nice to have a picture with you, and I could Photoshop in that plaque that I'll drop off to you tomorrow if we need to do that. But again, I just want to say I appreciate you and your service to Buckeye. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Another update that I want to give is Ken Galika, sitting to my right. You're going to see him more often. He's going to take my spot up here at the front. Ken is our new planning manager. He's been promoted. And so I'm still here. I'm not leaving Buckeye. I'm still in my role, but Ken will be a predominant staff member in our meetings. And so when you guys defer to the deputy director, you'll say planning manager. I will be here, especially as we have bigger agendas, and I'll still participate and probably sit up here often, but we'll still kind of figure that out on our end. But you will see Ken up here, and thanks in advance for your support in that transition. And both Ken and I are available along, as that occurs. Ken's done a great job here with the city, and we're excited to see what he does over the next 15 years, right, at least? 20 years before he retires. So thank you, Ken. Other than that, one other update is I'm going to work with Carrie. We just got an email today, but it's going to be an exciting time. Our Parks and Trails plan was adopted, I think, in 2016. It's been some time. There's a lot that has happened since then. A lot of different land use changes. And so they're going through a complete revamp of that Parks and Trails plan. So our parks staff, as well as their consultants, they want to give a presentation to the commission and get some of your feedback, just to kind of show where they're at in the process. So we're juggling how we're going to do that at the next, I think it's going to be the first meeting in September. We're going to juggle if we should have a work session before the regular agenda, but we're going to get a feel for how many items we have on the agenda. But stay tuned on that. We'll get some communication out to the group. If we are going to have a work session, it'll probably be around 4:30. But if we have a light agenda, we may just have it on the regular agenda. So we'll let you know as soon as we make that determination. Lastly, I think there was one more item I wanted to touch on with the group. I can't think of it right now, but I probably will in a little bit. But with that, Chair, that does conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Comments from the commission. Commissioner Bassler, would you like to start us off?
Just thank you, Nick, for your leadership. It's been great.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Damasio.
Nothing from me, just thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Commissioner Kupsik.
You can't go. We're not going to let you go. We will miss you. You've been wonderful. Thank you very much for everything. And Gay, thank you for sharing them with us. And congratulations, Ken, and happy birthday, Tosca.
Thank you. Commissioner Puppy, or Ragsdale, excuse me.
Thank you again for all your service here, and best of luck on your new life adventure.
Thank you. Commissioner Puppy.
I guess I'll reiterate what the last two commissioners said, so good luck to Ken in his new position, and also I really was honored to serve with you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday, Tosca.
This is hard. And Mr. Vice Chair, for the last time.
Nick, you've been a friend. You've been a prayer partner. Most of all, you're just a good dude. I'm going to miss the heck out of you. Gay, you messed up. We're not friends anymore. You are such a professional that whoever steps in that chair, grabs that gavel, has tremendous shoes to fill. So I bid you all of God's speed, and that you continue the work that you're doing here, there. You find good trouble. Find good trouble, man. And Ken, congratulations. I was tired of looking at Adam in that chair anyways. At Tosca, happy birthday.
Thank you, friend. Appreciate that.
Chair, I actually remember what I was going to say for the last item. I had a lot of items to cover. As for the nominations for chair, I'm going to connect with the clerk's office and just make sure logistically we're moving through the right path, as well as with the replacement of the seat, the commission seat. So it may be the next meeting, but it may skip a meeting, but we'll coordinate with vice chair and make sure the commission has that communication. So stay tuned on that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. And for my final visit here this evening, or our meeting, my wife asked, hey, can I come? She goes, all these years, I've never come. So she actually got to be in attendance, so I was appreciative of that. So maybe it made me a little bit more nervous, I don't know. But Ken, congratulations on your new role. That's amazing, and you'll do awesome. And Tosca, happy birthday to you, and thank you for everything you've done. So with that, we'll call it a meeting, and meeting is adjourned.
And if we can maybe gather